after we filed this lawsuit, that's when he was recharged?
No.
It was before we filed the lawsuit on July 4th?
I can't remember the date that it was filed, but it was filed because it was always intended to be refiled because of his criminal activity that it occurred.
And James Meade was arrested as well, right?
Yes, sir.
And what was his crime? I'll read it from your report, from your officer's report. Failure to ID as a witness. You see that?
So I think this is on page 13 of 15 under suspects. Kind of in the middle, bottom third.
Correct.
Okay.
And James Meade was detained for failure to ID as a witness, right?
Correct.
And then his property was seized, right?
Correct.
And why was his property seized? Because what?
For one, he's already suspects in other crimes. The property was received as evidence of the group's activity, the disruption, and the actual arrest that was made at that point.
James Meade is a suspect in other crimes. What other crimes?
If he was there as part of that, in that hallway, in that foyer, and I'd have to look at the report or whatever, then yes, he has additional charges. If he wasn't in there in that lobbyway, then he's not. So there's just so many, and I wasn't there. I don't know who this James Meade is.
But he was detained for failure to ID as a witness. You see that?
They did detain him, so they could ID him.
For failure to ID as a witness, that's why he was detained.
Yes, sir, I understand you.
Are you aware that it's not illegal in Texas to fail to ID as a witness, or do you not know that?
No, I'm not aware of that. That's not the practice that we've always done, nor is it what the district attorney advised us before any of these arrests were made.
The Leon Valley Police has a practice to detain people who fail to identify as a witness to a crime?
If they're an important part of this, and I'll tell you, Your Honor, I've never seen any witness that refused to identify a crime. We've had a few that, when my 28 plus years with San Antonio Police Department, that did, but they always eventually identified. So yes, they would be detained regardless.
Probably because you threatened to arrest them for failure to ID as a witness, right?
I can't tell you what they were thinking. But we definitely would detain them.
Threatening to arrest somebody is a good way to get them to do something, right?
I've never tried that, but sure.
Right. So in Texas, there's two types of failure to identify that's considered criminal. One is if you're being arrested,
right,
and you don't give your name. So if you're under arrest for doing something, and the officer says, "What's your name?" and you refuse to identify yourself, that's a crime. True?
that's true.
Another way to commit this offense is if you're a witness to a crime and an officer comes over to you and says, "What's your name?" and you lie. Right? That's the other way to commit this crime, right?
And then, as far as I know,
yes or no? Please.
No.
Okay. So it's your understanding that if you see somebody be a witness to a crime, you're allowed to go over to that person under Texas law and say, "Sir, what's your name?" And if they refuse to answer, you're allowed to arrest them for this crime of failure to identify. True?
that's not what I'm saying.
Please explain it.
So what I'm saying is these people are not just witnesses, they're parties to the offense. We have death threats going on, we have all these issues going on, and we need to identify who these people are that are specifically involved in that area where the crime has been committed.
So they're suspects.
There eventually are, yes, absolutely.
Not eventually. When James Meade was detained, was he detained in handcuffs, by the way?
I couldn't tell you, sir.
Why don't you look at the report or whatever and tell me?
I'm looking at the report that talks about James Meade.
Okay, fine. So he was detained.
Chief, what's the heading there? It says
SP suspect. SP2, he's a suspect.
So when he was detained, he was being detained as a suspect, not as a witness. Is that your testimony?
Well, I'm looking at this right here. It says that he was reportedly videotaped above arrest and detained for failure to identify as a witness. Subsequently released after providing identification.
Right.
He was detained. Yes, sir.
So I can read that also. I'm asking you why he was detained. Was he detained because he's a part of this cabal, or because he was a witness who refused to identify himself? Which one?
First of all,
can you answer the question first?
Sure. Well, I need some clarification from you.
Ask me what.
So first of all, I'm not really smart enough to understand what a cabal is. So could you help me out with that term?
Well, if your attorney can clear that up, it was in his briefing. It's a group of zealot anarchists.
Oh yeah, then this is a cabal.